Alright, hello again. This is going to be a disassembly and reassembly video of the Ruger P90, which is a .45 caliber pistol that is a stainless steel slide and aluminum frame body. Another very nice pistol. First thing you would do in this case with this pistol is you always want to make sure the gun is unloaded. If you have a magazine in there, make sure your magazine, loaded or not, is away from the gun. Never have any ammunition anywhere near your gun while you're loading or unloading your gun, or actually unloading your gun. If you're loading it, then I guess you do need ammunition. That's funny. So, if you're unloading it and you're going to clean it, make sure your ammunition is far away. So, no magazine in the gun. Do a safety check and make sure that there's nothing inside the chamber. Okay, you want to lock the slide back and you want to double check, triple check, whatever you need to do to feel safe and secure that there's nothing inside there. So with this one, just like the P95, it's very similar. You have a ejector inside here, and the ejector has to be flipped down to disassemble the pistol. A lot of people make the mistake of not remembering the ejector, and you're not going to get anywhere without the ejector being flipped down, and you could possibly damage your pistol trying to take it apart otherwise. So you reach inside there and you flip it down, and you can feel it when it kind of snaps into place. So once it's flipped down, what you're going to do next is you're going to release your slide, and I always release mine and put my finger inside there. I know it looks uncomfortable, but it really isn't uncomfortable. And you're going to kind of let it go forward, and you're going to hold it so that you can take your slide lock out. And the slide lock, what you're going to do in this pistol is you're going to line it up with the squared off looking hole. So you're going to pull that back to where the slide lock is, and then you're going to push on it, and you see it come out. And since this pistol has a spring on it, you're going to need to kind of hold it, pull it out. I usually turn it down out of the way. Then I'm going to slowly let the slide go forward while pulling my finger out of the way. Okay. Then I'm going to pull the slide right off. Okay, and there's the slide, and there's the frame and the body receiver. So once you've got the slide off, okay, then you've got your guide rod and spring assembly right here. And you just push on that, kind of move it out of the way. You pull it out. You want to hold on to it because on this particular pistol, some of the older Ruger pistols, they do not have a captured guide spring, and they're under a little bit of tension, so when you pull that out, that spring could go flying, so you want to make sure you kind of hold it as you're pulling it out. On this particular pistol, it also has the little nib on the end. Some of the pistols, the later ones, are made without the nib. If you do have a pistol with a nib like this, if you ever replace your guide rod, you want to make sure that you replace it with a guide rod that has a nib just like that. Because the reason I'm telling you that is because the barrel link, which is right here, this barrel link that's inside, I'll pull the barrel out and show you. This barrel link is distinctive and different from the barrels that have the guide rod without the nib. This barrel link will only work correctly with this nib on this guide rod, and it fits right into a little spot there. So if you have a barrel in your P90 or other Ruger pistol that has a nib on it, you always want to replace that guide rod with another guide rod with a nib. Now, there are pistols, there are P90s that are made with a flat, no nib guide rod, and those have a different barrel link than this barrel link here. It's shaped a little bit differently, and the flat guide rod would fit right into there with no issue. So once you've done this, you've taken it all apart. You don't want to go any further than this. Ruger does not recommend going any further than this far in your disassembly, and there's no reason to go any further than this unless you have an issue. So you got your slide, you got your barrel, you got your guide rod. First thing you do is you got to make sure on your barrel, push the barrel link all the way back. It has to be back. It needs to be back in order for that guide rod to sit in there correctly. Take your barrel and you drop it into here, and she sits right in there just like that. Okay. Then you're going to take your guide rod, and another thing is on this guide rod, if you ever take the spring off, especially these non-captured Ruger pistols, this spring has one end that is supposed to go to the front of the barrel, and one end that it goes to the back towards the end of the guide rod to the barrel link. This end is smaller than this end. If you ever take that spring off and you put it on there incorrectly, and then you go to fire your gun, you're going to have malfunctions. Failure to feed, failure to eject, it's going to mar up your guide rod, it's going to cause some issues. So always make sure that if you take that spring off, the bigger end is the end that points out. The smaller end is the end that goes all the way to the end of the guide rod where the nib is or where the flat end is. And it should fit pretty tightly on there. So remember to do that. Now, the barrel link is back. Make sure that barrel link is back. And it's going to move when I try to put this in here. So I'm going to put it in. Okay, I'm going to position that in the correct spot. And it kind of sits. See how it sits in there? Okay, you want to make sure that's correct. It's sitting in there just right. So once you've done that, take your frame. After you cleaned everything, of course I've already cleaned this pistol. And I'm going to put this back on here. I usually use a little bit of grease. You're going to see that on my frame. Put it back on. Slide it on gently. I'm going to line everything up again by I put my finger inside here into the chamber. And you're going to pull this back. Now, when you're reassembling it, what you're going to do is, you see that squared off hole? That has to line up, because you're going to push your slide lock into that hole. See that? Line it up. So once you've got that lined up, actually is that the right one? Yes, that's the right one. Once you've got that lined up, you're going to push your slide lock slowly, because that'll release it a little bit when you get that lined up. Push it in there until it clicks, just like that. Okay, and then while I've got it slide back, I'm going to reach in there and grab the ejector, pull the ejector back up, pull your fingers out, let the slide go forward. Okay, and then the hammer is back. And you want to release your hammer. I would never leave the gun like that and then put a magazine in there and then inadvertently, you know, if it's not on safety, I could have an accidental discharge. So I always like to drop the hammer while there's no ammunition near or in the gun, no magazine in the gun. Drop the hammer. Okay, everything is completely reassembled. Make sure that everything works correctly. I usually take a look at that. Alright, so the P90. Ruger P90, no longer made. Shoots .45 caliber, an awesome gun. If you have a chance to get a hold of one or fire one, try it out. I really, really like it. So hopefully this video has helped you. Have a good day.